Why hello there peeps out in YouTube land, it is Asenva here for some tips and tricks. So today's tips and tricks involve tricks and some tips on making your Bobobie / Resinsoul dolls more posable. So as you can see, I actually have my my boy in pieces. This is a Resinsoul / Bobobie. It's a Bobobie Apollo head on a Resinsoul gang body in tan. And when they are sent to you, they are sent with this elastic that looks like this. And it usually comes superly duperly loose. And they're just flippy floppy everywhere. They don't want to stand up. They're not sitting up all the way. They're just crazy. Which, I mean, I'm not trying to bash Resinsoul or Bobobie. I love my Resinsouls and my Bobobies that I own. I have 3 of them. It's just that they need some work. It's a great price that you get to buy them at. It's definitely, I think, probably a really good doll if you're curious about the hobby. That is, if you don't know what to do and you just kind of want to jump in and whatnot. I think it's a definitely good experience for you because they're so inexpensive. But they do take some work if you want them to pose. So today I'm going to show you some stringing tips, and I'm going to show you some hot sueding tips on how to hot suede and whatnot. Hot glue gun suede. And hopefully we'll see if maybe we can do some wiring too. So it's going to be a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to condense it as short and small and simple and sweet as I can. But I feel like this is a good kind of thing to show you all, mainly if you don't know how to do any of these things and you kind of need help or would like to see it done. And I'm going to say this right now, I do not claim whatsoever to be an expert on modifying or doing any of this, but this is just kind of some stuff that I've done and I've read that really helps out, and that I know I've tried before and that has really helped out with my Bobobie / Resinsouls. I'm first, you unstring them. I like to keep the elastic just in case, whatevs. So I'm going to hang on to this elastic, and the elastic I'm replacing it with is a way thicker elastic. And that's just because I feel like they're more stable when you have thicker elastic. So this is the old elastic versus new elastic that I'm putting in. It's a lot tighter, and I personally think it helps them a lot. It's got a lot more elasticity to it too. First things first, I'm going to use the old elastic to help me provide a guide as to where I want to tie my knot. I'm going to make it slightly smaller. I'm going to do, I don't know what kind of knot this is called when you tie it in like this, but it's not the little bunny knot that you normally do when you tie your shoes. Go, try it again. Old string versus new string, lining them up and push down. So there's like a good maybe inch difference between the two from top to bottom. So I'm going to see how this works out. Hopefully it's not too tight. I'm not going to tighten this knot too much because if I need to change it out, I'm going to have to loosen it. So I don't want to, make it permanent. So step 2, the way that the body is strung, usually most dollies have one loop of elastic in the top part of their torso. So I mean, this is the top part. He's got everything here, and then usually they just pull this part through and bam, you got your arm strung. I'm going to leave this off to the side because I'm going to actually try to see if I can wire it. Never done wiring, so this is going to be a tip and trick experience for both of us to share. So, but I'll do that one later. But let me go ahead and do this. Before I do this though, you could at this point, since all your parts are open, you could hot glue suede, and this will be a lot easier than just trying to bend the pieces back. It's probably a lot safer too. So before I even start stringing this through, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue suede. And I'm going to do it really quickly just because I want to spend more time on doing the other stuff. But I'll show you how to do it. Usually I get like some type of piece of paper and I'll fold it up. Some people, they usually just smear the glue directly into the joints. I don't like doing that. I'm kind of scared. I get more of a smooth run if I use a piece of paper and smooth it in there. So that's what I'm going to do. Before I do that, I'm going to make sure it's clean. It wouldn't make sense to put hot glue on a dirty part. So one of my main parts I'm going to suede is the hip portion. Another modification that you could do that I have not tried yet is to actually sand a part of this away, because the reason why he's not sitting the way he should is that the parts that are here, he can't sit up all the way like this. It does not allow him to sit this way. But if you suede it, it'll help for sure, which is what I'm going to do. Or you could sand it open a little bit more so that way it has more leeway to sit. Because when he sits, he can't come up all the way, which is a big problem. So I'm going to go ahead and just suede it for today, and one day I'll try doing it. I have a low temp hot glue gun, and I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on the paper. There I go. You want to work somewhat fast because if you take your time, it's going to dry on you. So here I go, smear the inside. And there you go. So I've got like a coat inside. I'm going to do some more around it because it's only like a portion of it. I want more than that. There we go, second string. If you notice that your paper starts getting icky, flip it to another side and put the glue on again. Now, you're not going to just be able to do willy-nilly in here, because if you put too much glue, it's not going to sit evenly with this joint here. So as much as I like to say, yeah, just do whatever in there, like, you at least have to have it evenly throughout the whole piece, because if not, he's going to have problems with sitting and standing because of the glue. So that's one side done. And you can see I just put it all the way around. Hot gluing is a good method. It'll come off. It's not permanent. You will have to re-suede. I don't know what the marked time is. I think it depends on how much you use and play with your dolls and whatnot. It'll come right off. You can just peel it off. I think I've even heard of some people putting it in the freezer and then it pops off. But I usually just pick it out with my finger and then it'll come out and it'll be. So you want to make sure it's just even, looks nice. Not going for perfection. You're not going to want to put the body parts back on yet because it's still drying. But at this time you can kind of clean up any little edges that you see that are popping up that you might not want. Just clean them up with your finger. Other parts that you could suede are, you know, the ankles. You could suede that. I've even sueded parts through here, like to keep it more, you know, straight. But usually with the tighter string, that kind of helps out with that issue if you have any problems with that. But yeah, pretty much anywhere you could put the hot glue on it. But I just feel like a lot of the problems are here, and if you put hot glue here, you're gonna be safe. Another part that you could suede though is the head right here. If you want to make him, you know, ensure that he's gonna keep a position, you can do the head. So right now, like, I didn't like how it looked, so I just kind of peeled at it and it came right out. So that's what I mean. It's not bad. They actually sell silicone discs. I think Volks makes some. I've even in past times glued the inside of the arm joint right here. I've glued this before too. That way he has traction. You can hold it out and keep it a lot better. But I'm going to try to see if wiring can help this time around and see kind of what happens with that. So anyway, so we already have the string ready to go. Everything, all my pieces are together here. I'm going to make sure that I have everything in order, ready to go. With the string, since you are using a thicker string, or if you choose to use the same string and you're just going to tighten it, if it's a thicker string, you're going to want to make sure you can try to open up the little S-hook a little bit, so that way it's a little bit easier to slip on. But we're going to go ahead and start putting the elastic through the body. So you're going to start with the bottom part. Make sure that your string is in half. It's in half like this. And then you're going to feed both parts into the hip. So this one's going to go down. This one's going to go down. Two holes like that. Whee! So you can see, got two little elastic leggies. And then the top part here. It's okay to let go of this part. It's going to stay there. Just make sure everything kind of stays in the middle though when you're stringing. You don't want it to get out of place, and you want to try to keep it as much in the middle as you can. So that way you have less to worry about when if you have to adjust it and put it back into the middle. If it's already in the middle, you don't have to worry about it, so. You'll only have to make minor adjustments, so. This stuff is pretty easy. I mean, it'll go through. It's when we get to the smaller parts that, I mean, I would recommend getting some type of ribbon to string your elastic through the rest of the body. 2 for 2. Make sure everything is what it needs to be. Good. Remember, don't neglect that top knot on the top. You're going to make sure everything is still even. Even Steven. It's all even still. There we go. Everything's nice and even. Make sure your kneecaps are facing the right way. You don't want to get to the very end and then find you did not string something the right way. Now that it's getting through a tighter space, I'm going to go ahead and use my ribbon. And I just laced it through the elastic, and then I'm going to lace it through down here. Okay. That way you can go ahead and just pull it through. Okay. Ta-da! If you're scared of this going back up, you can leave something like, you know, just be careful what you leave. You want to make sure it's going to be safe and it's not going to damage your resin, so I'm just using like this Sharpie. So I'm going to leave my ribbon here. I'm going to make sure everything's even again, because right now it feels like it's off. So I'm going to just make sure it's all the same just by sliding things around. I'm going to go ahead now and put a stopper down here so that way the in case something slips through, it's not going to fall out and be crazy. Since I flipped this around, I got to make sure my feet are going to be on the right sides that I need them to be. I think it's a lot easier to put the hoop through, the little S-hook through the elastic first and then hook the hook onto the foot versus trying to put the little hook onto the foot and then put it to the elastic. So I'm going to go ahead and put the little S-hook with the elastic first. There we go. I'm going to make sure it's in the center as much as I can. I'm going to do the other one. Okay, so now I have 2 S-hooks on. I'm going to go ahead and hook them onto my feet. If you need something to help push it through, don't use anything metal because then you might damage the resin. So use something, I had a paintbrush here. Use something to push it in. So I'm going to use this little paintbrush here just to push in the hook. And I got it. Yeah, buddy. Okay, let's try the other one. Alright, so we got it. So now I can go ahead and safely pull up on the middle strings that are up here at the top. Tighten everything down below. So there we go, 2 feet, or 2 legs, which look really weird right now. Things, you know, we have our legs. He's still really loose, but that's because he hasn't been pulled through the rest of his body. So this is where we can get our ribbon again. And you're going to go ahead and pull it through the torso. Next part is I'm going to go ahead and get my ribbon. I'm going to put it through my middle torso piece here. Because now I'm going to run this elastic through the torso piece that's up here where my S-hook is. I'm going to take the S-hook out. And this ribbon is going to go through the middle here. It's going to go all the way through the neck. There we go. I got both pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off the little marker that I had here. Now you'll notice I have this huge long piece of elastic. I have this here and I'm not going to keep it. I just want to make sure that before I cut it, this is going to be a good, you know, tightness to have it at. That I'm going to be able to pull it up and through the S-hook, you know, safely. So I'm just going to go ahead and tuck it back in. I'm going to tuck it in. I mean, you could even actually keep it there too if you want. Just make sure you tuck it in really good. But it's always good to check it first before you start cutting your elastic and, you know, making mistakes. So you're going to pull it through. So like right now I know he's going to be really tight, so I have to hold him with my legs down here. There's like no other way to do this other than using like your whole body to string. So just be careful. And pull up on my ribbon. Ooh. Oh, there we go, Shazam! And it's through the top. I don't want to lose it, and I don't want to lose my arms, so I'm going to take this stick it through both. Whew. So there we go, all up at the top. So yeah, whew, it is like a workout, man, getting this strung and whatnot. And I mean, it can be intimidating if you've never strung a doll before, but it is really rewarding to string a doll, because I mean, everything just, it's just a lot better. Everything feels a lot better for the doll when you string them. So this is what we have. So I'm going to do a standing test and see how this is, because this might be too tight, and if it's too tight, I'm going to have to loosen it up a bit. But I think that's pretty good. I mean, that's a really good standing position for him. If I sit him down, I think that's significantly better than what he used to do. Like, he was leaning back way more, you know, at the beginning. I think I need to make some adjustments for our arms because it's kind of loose here. I mean, I could even add sueding in there if I want to add some stuff there for him. But I'm going to show you what I'm talking about down here at the bottom. I don't know if you see or if you notice how this foot is jutting out more than this one. And it's because, like I mentioned, when you're doing the sueding, you want to make sure you have even coats. If you don't have even coats, you're going to have, you know, things like this. So you might have to make some adjustments. Everything else though looks really good. Like, I mean, I really like this. It's really, I mean, that's just a huge difference. And if you own a Bobobie doll, I mean, you know, it's a nightmare sometimes getting them to sit, getting them to stand, you know. So doing these little tricks, you know, sueding, if you wire them, which is another good thing to do, getting new elastic in them and tightening them up is a really good thing if you want to have your dolls, you know, pose better. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll fix this part of the leg later, but right now I'm pretty darn happy with where he is right now. This is fantastic. I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna feed the rest of the string through the S-hook. So I'm gonna take it off of this one now because I need this string to go through all of my strings now. This is the whole reason why I use ribbons for everything. And I use stoppers like this because if not, the elastic's just going to shoot through everything else. So now I've got to pray that it's going to go through. I mean, it's already tight as it is. So now I've got to make sure that it's going to go through to through the head, and I'll be able to hook in the S-hook through it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up just a tad bit. I'm going to put in my S-hook. It's always awesome if you can get somebody to help you. But I mean, if you can't, you just got to take your time with it. Be patient. Don't get all frustrated. If you've got to take a break, then take a break. I mean, this is a lot of work, mainly if you've never done this before. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the ribbon through my S-hook up here. So I'm going to put the ribbon through my S-hook here. Put my strings through. Slide my head down. I'm going to try to get these little pieces of elastic through the top part too, just because that's kind of annoying to have to deal with. So I'm going to put that there. So here's the first part of it. It is super tight, so I'm going to make sure I have a good hold on my ribbon before I even let go of this guy right here. So that's gone. You're going to pull up. Twist the head. Yeah! Whew, victory! Yeah! My guy is like super tight. He is like crazy awesome tight. So, I mean, depending on what you want, if this is too tight for you, loosen it. By all means, loosen it. Do it again, make it more loose. I'm just crazy and I'd rather have mine tight. Of course, there are some downsides to making it tight. You don't want to make it so tight that you've got the resin rubbing on resin, because then it starts deteriorating the resin and that's not good. But for me, this is what I want. I want it to be tight. His arms are still kind of, I need to fix them because the wiring inside of it. But honestly, that's the least of my concerns. His arms are the least of my concerns. Like I said, I could put sueding in here and that'll give it some traction here. But I'm just happy that he's a lot more tighter than what he used to be. So kudos, kudos, kudos. If I want to cut that string that's in the middle, like if I'm happy with where this is, and I want to cut that string in the middle, I can open up the torso here and I can cut it. I can get access to that. I'm going to put his pants on just because I know that's like that's a more truer test to me. If he can sit with his pants, and now that I've sueded him, he's got hot glue sueding in him, he's got tighter strings in him. This is going to be more of a test to me if he can sit with his pants. So that's definitely a better sit, because he was like leaning way back when I had him before. So, loving it, way better. This is a way better sitting position, because before he was like back here, and now since we've got the suede in him, he's sitting a lot more straight and whatnot. I could even just popping up the little bit of the piece right here helps a lot, straightens him out. I think it's a lot better. On a side note, what I did was that for the arms, I went ahead and I ran this wire through it, and this is just kind of like telephone wire, and I honestly can't remember what size this is, but it's almost the same thickness of like the old elastic. And basically what I did was that I fed it through the arm, through this part of the hand, fed it through all the way through this part of the body, fed it through here, fed it through here, fed it through here, and I had extra hanging out. So I actually bought it a little bit bigger than what I needed it to be. And that extra, I ended up cutting it, and when I cut it, I made sure to put hot glue on the edge because it's got copper in it and I don't want that to scratch my resin. So I put that kind of hot glue stopper to make sure that it doesn't scratch anything inside. And I already think this might be a really, really beneficial thing to do since, you know, we have that arm joint that's kind of weird. It's definitely like holding it a lot better. He's not snapping his hands. The only thing is you're gonna have to try to pull some of the wire back. So realistically, the wire's like about here inside of the body. That way, this still rotates. Because if the wire comes out to where like this one, how this one has the wire all the way out, your floating piece is not gonna be floating anymore for your wrist. So you want to make sure that this wire is into your body here. You don't want it to be sticking out where the wrist is, because then it's going to interfere with how the wrist moves. So just to kind of keep that in mind when you're wiring yours, if you decide to wire it, make sure that you leave some space there for it. So I went ahead and I just, you know, retracted it back into the arm, and so you can see the inside of it now. Now it has the wire, and it also has the elastic for the top part. I think this is really, really going to help. I think it's going to help him because if you own a Bobobie, you know that the arms, sometimes they snap closed, and you don't want them to snap closed. So this is something that's really, really awesome, and it kind of, you know, helps keep the arms straight if you want them to stay like that. And it still bends because it's a wire, so it can still bend and hold its position like that too. So I hope these tips and tricks helped you if you have a Bobobie body. And if you were wondering like how to string them or how to put the elastic through, what kind of elastic to use, sueding, and wiring, if you're curious about all that stuff. It really does help these dolls out. They really need it. Like I said, it's like awesome that they come so inexpensive, but then at the same time you have to do a lot of work in order to get them to do what you want to do. Is it hard work? Some of it is, you know. It's going to take a lot of your patience and a lot of your time, but it's definitely worth it because, I mean, this is a tan doll, and tan dolls are really pretty much expensive through a lot of companies, and if you just kind of want something just to have it for now, like for the time being, this is just definitely like a good option to go through. I mean, and he looks really nice. Like, when I put clothes on him and stuff, he looks really nice. I'm going to go ahead and, I think I will suede his arms, that way he can hold his arm position better. But I do like the fact that I can bend his arm with the wire in it, and it's going to hold it nicer and it's not going to snap. Because that was my main thing, was that his arms kept on snapping, and it's because of how they sculpted the joints in the middle. So this has been a definite improvement, I think. It looks really nice to me. I really like it. And I think I'll be a lot happier with pictures and stuff when I have him sitting down and whatnot. So, yay! And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a message down below, and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, bye guys. Bye.